Hello. This is going to be a series of YouTubes I'm going to be making about how to read the tarot and the way I teach it. I've been a professional reader for over 20 years. I've been also a professional teacher of the tarot for over 20 years as well. There are students out there who started out under my teachings who are doing just fine now. They're doing very well. And so will you. So welcome. I'm going to be using the Marseille deck here, my own Marseille deck, Tarot Marseille by Patishi. It's available on tarotmaps.com. There'll be a link down below in the store. You can go to it and just purchase it. Along with my tarot mat, you could also purchase. It's a 24-inch square mat, rubber back, and 16th of an inch thick. And it's the palette is pretty much, the artwork on the palette pretty much matches the Marseille deck and my palette of what I used in my deck. So that's there. There's also going to be a link to my books on Amazon if you're interested in that too. So anyway, I'll also be using the Rider-Waite deck, because the Rider-Waite deck is pretty much a standard with a lot of people, and these two decks will be, I want to show how to interpret the Marseille deck, and lots of times it's easier to do that by showing the Rider-Waite deck, so you get in a way of associating the two decks together. A lot of people have a problem with that, or it's a confusing time for them to try to do that. I hope that these talks will be able to smooth that out for you a little bit. So I'd like to start out by talking about the Minor Arcana. And Minor Arcana is Ace through 10, 4 court cards, 14 cards a suit. There's 4 suits: cups, swords, wands, and pentacles, which I'm calling coins lots of times here. So, and that's what they are. Now, some people you might have heard of reverse meanings, where cards turned upside down. It has a different interpretation. I never used reverse meanings, so I will not be teaching it. However, if you want to learn reverse meanings later on, the way I teach in my classes is you're able to fine-tune in ways and move into something distinct that you won't have to relearn something from what you've learned with me. So you can go forward in one particular way or another, and very easily from these talks that I'm giving here. Or you can just do it the way I'm doing it and just keep it at that. That choice will be yours. So we'll start out by Ace through 10 here. And the 4 suits I keep as common. I don't really use the suit. So all the aces mean the same thing. All the 2s mean the same thing. 5s mean the same thing. Pages mean the same thing. Kings mean the same thing. Regardless if it's a pentacle, a coin, or a cup, or a sword or a wand. It doesn't make any difference. You can fine-tune it if you want and go into those suits, that's fine. But you don't really need to. Usually the person getting the reading will determine what suit you're looking into. I think of the 4 suits as the 4 functions of consciousness. So if you're looking in the cups, you're looking into a reading on relationships. If you're looking into coins, you're looking into something material like buying a house or changing jobs. If you're looking into swords, you're talking about something that has to be thought out, that's really hard to figure out. Taking some careful planning or something like that. And wands, looking into pursuits of your spirit. So they all interact with each other anyway. And the sequence, there's a sequence with these Ace through 10 that you'll see in the Rider-Waite deck, if you are familiar with that deck. You don't see it in the Marseille because Marseille is just pip cards. But in the Marseille, in the Rider deck, you can see that sequence. And anything we do, we go through this sequence. And it'll be more clearer to you as we move forward here when I explain these cards. Starting out with aces. Aces are a new concept, something new. I have a key word here as new concept. But anything new. A new idea is fine, but it could also be a new situation. It could be a new person. It could be an offer. It could be something, just something new that came into your life that's significant in your reading here. And it could be a new pursuit by you. It could be anything new. So aces are a new concept. And here you see keywords of what that keyword new concept can be, how it can drift off into other things. This is why I like keywords, because they allow you to drift into an endless amount of meaning the card can have. And you will drift into your own meanings of what those keywords can expand out to in ways that I will not know, which allows you to see the card through your eyes instead of memorizing what I'm saying these cards mean. So aces, a new beginning, new situation, new concept. Twos represent choice. So if you have a choice now, you have this new situation, you have to make a choice on it. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to take it, or do you want to move on and just forget about it? So twos are the choice. Threes, if you decide to take that, make a choice to move on this issue, you have the threes. You have to create it now. You create it. Threes are creativity. Twos are choice. Aces are new beginnings, new concept. Threes, you're creating this situation. Here where you can see, if you were talking about a relationship, you could see that sequence starting to develop. Aces are a new opportunity. You met somebody new. Now you make the choice, twos. Do I want to proceed forward with this situation? Start a relationship? Consider starting a relationship? That's the twos, the choice. If you do decide to move forward with that relationship, you create it with the threes. You learn about each other. You discover this person, and you get to know them, and they get to know you, and you're creating this environment between the two of you. Same with a job, same with many other things in your life. You're going to be doing this with something new. You're going to create the situation. Creativity, threes. Fours are stability. Once you've created the situation, now you stabilize it. Now it becomes routine. It becomes something you can depend on, something that's predictable, something that's it's structured now. It's understood clearly. It's stable. That's the fours. Fives are change. Now, if you look at the Rider-Waite deck, you'll see that the fives look very disturbing, because what they're doing is they're changing the stable force. Nobody likes change. It's a disruption. Fives are change, challenges. Sixes are overcoming those challenges. They're overcoming the obstacles. I have them here as perseverance. But I also like to think of the sixes as overcoming obstacles. And that's what we do when we have changes. We have to overcome them. And perseverance is usually very important when you're trying to do that. So overcoming obstacles, taking on these challenges. And then we have the sevens, confidence. If you take on these challenges and obstacles and overcome them, this creates a confidence in the situation. You've been through a lot now. This situation's been through a lot. It's got tempered now. It's stronger because of this experience, this testing, and it's still there. There's confidence in it, but you believe in it now a lot more because you've gotten through some hard times with it. That's the sevens. And when you did that, you go into eights, which is advancement. Once you've gotten through that hard time with things, you put that situation at a higher level now. It's a stepping stone. It advances. And it allows you to advance even further in ways you couldn't before. And that brings us to the nines, which is attainment. Attaining the perfect situation, and things are very well put together here. All is attained. And then we go into the tens, a completion. In completions, everything must end. Everything comes to a completion. And that's what we have with the tens. So anytime you do a reading, everything that your people come up to you about are in one of those 110 stages. Usually they're in the fours, very bored with the stability, and they want to get out of it. Or they're in the fives. There's been some type of a challenge that they're trying to get through in the fives. Or they're in the sixes, trying to overcome these challenges. So you know where they've been, starting with ace through 4 or 5. And you know where they're going, 6 through 10. Usually that's the case. Sometimes they're in the beginning with an ace and a 2. They have to make a choice. So they're on the fence about it. Usually your readings will have that type of starting point in there. And this gives you a good scope of where they're at, what they've already gone through, and where they're headed. Ace through 10. And I want to mention, like I said, I mentioned the Rider-Waite deck. Ace through 8 through 10 on the Rider deck. Eight of Swords. You see that woman who's bound and blindfolded. And this is supposed to be advancement. Well, and you look at that and say, how can this be advancement? Well, we're still talking about advancement, only here the snapshot picture is showing advancement being restricted. And it needs to be freed up somehow. 9 of Swords shows attainment, shows a woman sobbing in the middle of the night. You can say, well, how can that be attainment? Well, some attainments are not easy. Some attainments are not pleasant. Some attainments, coming out of denial, self-denial, is not an easy thing. That's an attainment. Coming to terms with a sad truth, facing it, is an attainment, but it's not a happy one. Awareness of some sad truth that you attained is still an attainment, and eventually these things are growing experiences that you do end up being in a better place for, but at the time they're not very pleasant. And 10s, we have the same thing, completion. When the person's laying there with 10 swords in his back, that's a completion, yes, but so is retirement a completion. Graduation is a completion. Getting married would be a completion, a stage of your life as a single person, now moving into another stage. There's a lot of wonderful completions. There's also some very challenging ones. What's bad about, well, not bad, but the challenge with a deck like the Rider-Waite deck and a lot of the newer decks today is there's a specific image on the card showing a specific type of completion, attainment, or whatever the card happens to be. But keywords can be seen in many different ways. You say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, a word can be worth 1,000 pictures too. And to try to draw one picture that would fit any type of a completion or any type of an attainment or any other keyword we're using here would be impossible to do. So what we have on a deck like that, like the Rider deck, and most decks today, is you have a snapshot of one aspect of that particular essence the card is. And to try to put that into one image, a complete essence, would be like asking the ocean to pose for a picture. The ocean could be very serene and very calm. It could also be very powerful and very forceful and violent. You can never paint one picture of one type of ocean and think that it's going to encompass everything there is about the ocean. You couldn't do it. Only aspects of it. What's nice about a deck like the Marseille deck, where you're using pip cards, is you just have the meaning like I'm talking about, and it's up to you to decide what kind of a completion it is, or what type of an advancement it is, or stability it is. Sometimes stability can be very boring. People want to get out of it because it's too stable in the fours. Sometimes the changes into fives are not always negative ones. People want change. I look at that as a very good news thing. Yes, I see change coming. So really, it's going to be depending on the reading, depending on the other cards that are with it, and depending on how you feel about this question and this person that's sitting across from you as a reader. You have to make those choices as that reader. And I think you'll find this very useful. And if you are learning, I suggest try interacting with other readers if you can. If you want, you're welcome to come to our monthly Zoom meetings. Those are the second Tuesday of every month. Go to Tarot Gatherings at tarotmaps.com, the link again down below. And go to Tarot Gatherings in the menu. And there'll be the Zoom link will be there the second Tuesday of every month. Starts at 12 o'clock Chicago time. That's CST, Central Standard Time. And you're more than welcome to come in. There's novice readers there, and there's also professional readers there. And we just exchange ideas and talk about the cards. It's a wonderful way to learn. And you'll always learn something in there, and you have a good time too as a good bunch of people. So look forward to this series, and we'll take it from there. This is just number one. There'll be many, many other videos coming. At least there'll be one a week going out here. Maybe more, maybe two a week, depending on how things go. Thank you, and keep throwing cards. We'll talk soon. Bye.